One thing I've understood is like the first thing you have to know is yourself. Know yourself. Because you are both the warrior and the victim. So you are when you are in life, you're not getting what you think you should be getting in life, not because of any other person, just because of yourself. Like honestly, you are getting what you are getting because of the choice you've made. The decision is yours. They say you could take a horse to a stream, but you can't make them dream. I mean, you could read all the books, learn all the things, but the application comes from you. It's down to the choice. Are you willing to work on yourself, develop yourself, improve yourself, or become something, or are you just going to make excuses? If you're not willing, you're losing. So it comes down to a choice. You've seen a lot of families, two exactly same twins doing the opposite thing. Why? It's down to choice. Same genetics, same upbringing, same environment, but the power of choice separates them. So you know where you are in life, it's really you. Of course, your environment, your situation, the economy, everything has an impact over you. But the choice to become something is totally up to you. And that's why Dalai Lama says, know yourself. Why? Because you are the warrior and the victim. You can decide to win or to lose. You can decide to pursue, to go after something, or you can give up and make excuses. There are a lot of people who make excuses for everything. It's always the economy, it's always their neighbors, always their family, it's always their friend, but it's never them. If you don't know yourself, you can never win. So no matter what you do, know yourself. You are both the warrior and the enemy. It's all in you. All in you, all in one. You can make the decision, the choice to go, regardless of the fear, or you can decide to run. It's all in you. So it's not our choice. We've not come to this world to live in fear. Fear is our biggest enemy. Fear is toxic. Fear paralyzes you. Fear stops you from even trying. So most time when people do something, they realize it's not even that difficult. Have you been in a situation where you think, oh, you couldn't ask someone out, or you couldn't do anything, and then you try, it's like, it was this simple. You couldn't sit an exam, and then you try, but what stops you from doing that? The decision. So everything we do in life comes back to the decision. We all fall, sometimes we all stumble, but some other people pick themselves up. Why? They have no other choice. They've made the decision to keep going regardless of the outcome. And why others run from it? Because they don't want to face that power of fear again. They say fear defeats more people in the world and kills more people in the world than any other thing. Fear. See, there was a story about a prisoner who was given life sentence, and then he was given the option that he was going to be blindfolded and kept in a dark room, and they're just going to cut his vein slightly and just allow him to bleed to death. They told him how this is going to work, that once we cut your vein on your ankle, you're just going to bleed to death, and most people die from this. And they're like, okay, if you survive it, we're going to let you go. He was on death row. And so they tied him up and they pretended to cut his veins, and they left the sound as if there's a trickling sound of blood. Do you know, by the next morning, the prisoner had died from fear, because he had this perception that, yeah, he's going to die. So he accepted it. So our biggest problem in life is fear. We can never face it. We can never challenge anything. Why? Because we are scared. Scare paralyzes us. Fear keeps us. Fear stops us from even trying. Have you heard about placebo? Placebo, when they give people drugs that contains nothing, but because they have that power, they believe in healing. And this is how a lot of people survive miracles and cancer, wherever. The power is in you. The power to succeed is in you. The power to change is in you. The power to thrive is in you. The power to become something is in you. Every human is like a seed. When you're born, everything you need to become a fully grown warrior is in you. It's up to you. You make the decision to become a warrior or to become a victim. If you understand, if you study people, most time people are actually running from themselves rather than running from danger, because they're so scared to actually come face to face with reality and say, this is what I'm not good at, this is what I need to work on, I need to develop this area. So they end up running from yourself time after time after time, because you don't want to take steps. You don't want to come face to face with your fear. Nothing physical, but everything. That's why some religious teachers would tell you it's all spiritual. And what do they mean by it's all spiritual? It's all spiritual, not in the sense of miracle. It's all spiritual because it's all in your head. The minute you decide, that's the minute you stand face to face with yourself. They say the person who never actually comes face to face with themselves will ever be unhappy, because they have never actually proven themselves to themselves. Like, look, I can conquer myself. If you can't conquer yourself, you can never conquer your environment. That's it. If you can't give what you don't have. So if you can overcome your fears, then you can impact the world. You can make changes. You can relate. Many people die of fear. Of course, it's not say people die of depression, and all those are what they fear, because you're scared of something, and fear attacks your immune system. If you ever played sport, when you under pressure, you feel your whole body vibrating. That's fear. Nothing physical, the same situation you are in practice, but because you believe there's more at stake here, your whole body goes through a different kind of process. Why? Because fear controls you. So if you can't control fear, you can't control nothing. So I want you to understand, the reason why we're scared of things is one reason. We're only thinking this mode: I cannot fix it, I cannot handle it, this situation is bigger than me. That's the only reason we fear. I'm not worthy, they're not going to accept me, they're going to reject me. Because if we don't put ourselves in that place, why would we be scared? So the minute you put yourself in that position, like you're not capable, that's the minute you start killing yourself. That's the minute you've lost. Like Mike Tyson says, when he walks into the ring, he's already defeated the opponent before they start the fight. Why? Because they are dead already. They've been knocked out by fear already before he touches them. That's the power of fear. The power to conquer oneself. So we must overcome that inner battle. We must overcome ourselves first before we face external battles. So the economy, the environment, every other thing you're trying to do, first you have to make sure you can overcome that yourself before you face the world. If we all start from the premise that, of course, regardless of what it is, I can handle it. That doesn't mean like we're not afraid, we're not scared. Of course we are. But we know, like, regardless of the situation, we are going to do what we need to do. So they said the people who overcome, it's not because they're not scared. Of course they are scared, but in spite of that, they still go after their dream. Why some other people run and hide, they will take account, but then they give themselves no other choice but to face the fear. That's what differentiates the warriors from the losers. As we go through lives, we're bound to go through ups and downs, good and bad. But what separates us from the rest is knowing that these downs are going to come, but we are going to be ready for it. So it's not about what happens to you. What happens to every other person. It's how are you prepared to go against it? Are you going to let it knock you out? Are you going to let that become your last fight? Are you throwing in the towel? Are you giving in? Or are you going to hold yourself together and say, look, regardless of what has happened to me, regardless of where I started from, regardless of where I was born, regardless of my skin color, regardless of my height, regardless of my accent, regardless of my parents' education, this is me. Regardless of my environment, this is where I want to go, and I'm going to go look for everything I need to help me get there. That's what winners do. So don't spend your time sobbing about why things happen, the reason why it happened to you, why you know. Focus on what you can do going forward, how you can overcome that situation. It has happened. That's a waste of energy focusing on the past. You should be like, this has happened. How do I change it? How do I improve? How do I not find myself in this situation again? What is it I'm good at? What can I spend a lot more energy into and get something out? How do I improve myself? How do I build? That is you using your energy in a more positive way than focusing on why. Because why, that's the past. For every minute you spend complaining, that's every minute you're not holding yourself and focusing on how to fix your current situation. Because why is not going to come and fix it. No. It should be, how do I get myself out of here? That's what, a lot of time we'll go through ups and downs. People like, oh, you tend not to be worried. I'm like, of course I'm worried. But I'm thinking, how would worrying about the past fix my present, fix my future? Thinking about how do I get out of this situation is how I want to spend most of my time than thinking how I got into that situation. Because how I got into that situation is past. I can't go back and change that. I can only focus on the future. How do I go from here? What do I need to do from here? How do I improve my situation from here? So what I want you to understand is, like, we are not the victims of our circumstances. You see, where we are in life, it's not because of everything around us. We are where we are in life because of our choices. Because of our choices, we make that decision. Wherever you are, there's someone who's had even a worse situation than you. But they've decided to take a step. They decided to change. They decided to improve. They decided to work on something. So you are not really where you are because of any other thing but you. It has always been your decision to do or not to do, to fight or to run, to develop or to complain. Don't let go of your dream because of your current situations. As human, we have this tendency to look at life as what it should be instead of what it is. We always focus on if this circumstance wasn't here, but we never look at life as this is what it is. Everyone wishes for the best luck in life, everything, being born into the rich family and whatever. But as they say, you have to play the best hand of the card you've got. That's the best you can do, is the best you can do. Give it your best shot. That's all you can do. You can't go on blaming the world, the economy, the people, and after a while everyone stopped listening to you. Why? Because everyone has what's called self-preservation. Everyone's main focus is them. How do they see tomorrow? How do they pay their bill? When you come around every time all you do is complain, people start avoiding you. So the best you can do is to play the best hand you can with the card that's been dealt with you. For you, like, were you born into? How do I get myself out of here? I can read. How do I work on that? I can write. How do I attend an evening school? Do the best you can with what you have. And before you know, every good habit improves another good habit. If you're kind of someone who wants to eat healthy, then maybe you start going for a run. Or if you're someone who wants to go for a run, maybe you start eating a bit healthy, because you start know that if you eat healthy, go for a run, you don't have to exercise as much. So if you're someone who sits on the couch and eat, then you want to start ordering Netflix and all that, because every good habit invites another one in, and so does every bad habit. So pick your battle. We all know in life it's really, really easy to blame every other person. Or this person didn't do that, that person didn't do that. That's the easiest game in life, the blame game. But are we taking responsibilities for ourselves? What are we holding ourselves accountable? Are we doing what we need to do? End of the day, you can only guarantee for yourself. You can only do your best. Like no one is here or put on this earth to hold your hands. It's all you. Don't get into the act of complaining and blaming every other person. Soon enough, everyone would be running from you, and you have no other person to blame. Of course, blamers are always going to find something to blame. So it's all up to you. Always take responsibilities. There's no point in blaming. Any situation you find yourself, you always have the choice of ending it. You always have the choice of stepping out. You always have the choice of leaving. There's no excuse. I know people always have tons of excuses. If you're not happy, you have the choice of making a change. So if you're not going to make a change, do not complain. Do not blame. The power is in your hands. As I say, the ball is in your court if you play tennis. You strike the ball when it's on your side of the court as hard as you can. Once it's on the other opponent side of the court, it's up to them to do what they want to do. So do not blame. Focus on what you can do best when the ball's on your side of the court. End it if you have to end it. Change it if you have to change it. But do not look for other people to make changes that would impact your life. That happens only in the movies. So I want you to remember, complaining is a sign of not accepting the situation. Because once you accept the situation, your drive should be, how do I change it? How do I improve it? Do I carry on? Do I step away? So when you carry on complaining constantly, you are not making changes. You are actually just digging a hole, creating even a worse situation, becoming the noisiest person, the complainer. And even if you're right, everyone tags you as the complainer, no one listens to you. So walk away if you can, change it if you can, but do not complain. So I want you to understand, it's actually not just money or wealth or what we've acquired that makes us happy, but progress. And without progress, there's no happiness. If you're not growing, you can't be happy. If you're not moving towards something. El Nightingale says, walking towards an ideal goal. That's happiness. Knowing you're getting better every day. Knowing you're getting closer to something every day. You see this when people book holiday, when they know they have something to look forward to. Or so, like, that is happiness. That is growth.